reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats, and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 181. I'm Chris, and as always, I'm joined by the Pantless Wonder himself. Hello, Layanor.
Hello, minions. I am Pantless.
And, of course, none other than at MMO Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hello. I think everybody really needs to appreciate what an amazing circumstance of fortuitousness it is that this show actually started tonight. So,
and of course,
it's special.
And of course, from across the pond, Mr. Harry Hall. Hi, Harry.
Yeah, and I can say without a trace of irony that I do appreciate Chris's efforts to get all the technical stuff worked out, because we've had a really rough start here. But we're gonna make a good show regardless.
Yeah, and it had nothing to do with my pants.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. All right, we got lots to talk about, Layanor, so let's get right into it. What have you been doing in-game?
I've been playing the new content in Lotro. That's been pretty cool. I actually got into Gondor with you, Chris, for a little while. Mm-hmm. And I got out there to PvP for a little bit, but of course there aren't very many people out there because they don't have all the gear and all of the Audacity ARM stuff out yet. So let's see, what else did I do? I went into Wildstar and tried to grind out some of the beginner area reputation. I don't remember the names of the places yet, so it's the beginner area. Secret World. I went through Secret World. There was a double AP week and started going through all of the earlier areas so I can grind out a bunch of points for skills and stuff. And then a friend of mine told me about a Asian game called Onigiri, and it's okay.
That's a glowing recommendation right there.
It's okay. It's free to play. The animation on it is very fluid, and it's very anime style. It's really neat. It's cool if you're really into that, but I've seen so many of these games that play that way and look that way, and it's just that there isn't that much very different about it. But other than that, the last game that I played...
it looks like old Virtua Fighter graphics, kind of. Maybe a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe I'm just...
Maybe a little bit better than that.
That's the way the aesthetics look to me. It's like that Virtua Fighter.
Look like Daytona.
Virtua Fighter, my God! I remember seeing that in the arcades and being amazed at the graphical realism of that game. Mm. It's like, oh my God, games couldn't possibly get more detailed and real than this 3D polygonal fighter. Look at it now! I dare you to look at it now.
The last game I played was Guns of Icarus, and I'm actually level 3 in that. I've played it quite a bit.
Oh, cool. Are you still enjoying it?
Yeah, enjoying it a whole lot.
You had a cool moment, too, with when you were in game, didn't you?
Yes, I did have a cool moment. A developer asked me, "Hey, are you Layanor from MMO Reporter?" I'm
awesome.
Like, yeah. Hi, nice to meet you. They said, "Hey,
can I sign your chest?"
He says, "Hey, do you want to talk to the
Community
PR
manager.
guy or somebody, and I'm like, Chris. So I gave him Chris's email, and they should be mailing you hopefully soon. They wanted to do an interview and stuff about questions if we had about the game, the development and stuff like that. And I told them that what we would probably be really interested in doing that, but because we have some musicians and stuff on the show, we would probably be asking a lot of stuff about the music and stuff too. So
Just
he's
about
like,
the French
yeah,
horns.
we would love to do that.
Just the French horns. How many French horns were used in the recording of the Guns of Icarus soundtrack?
2.
Some
Okay,
were killed,
done.
actually.
Thanks for coming, guys.
We can add it to the spreadsheet.
There you go.
That's what we need. Is we need a separate section on the site just measuring the number of French horns per game.
Oh man. All right,
Ooh,
Bill.
we could change our whole rating system. I mean, forget skill or quality of game or anything. We just rate it totally. The 4 horns, A+ game. You have to buy it. 1 horn, let it go.
Anyways, Bill, what have you been doing in game?
For me, Guild Wars 2 has been most of my time. I'm trying to squeeze out the last little bit of my world discovery there. I figured out, I can't remember if I told everyone last week, but I figured out that where I was missing all my points of interest and everything like that was the fact that I haven't discovered everything in the world versus world areas. So to complete the world discovery, you actually have to hit every point, every vista in all the world versus world maps except for the newest one that got added. There's no points to discover that count towards world discovery there. So that's been really tough because I have to tell you, Henge of Denravi, not really rocking it in world versus world this week. It's actually kind of embarrassing.
This week?
I had to really I had to look hard because the Henge of Denravi, which is our Guild Wars 2 server, by the way, it was green on all the maps for the world versus world stuff this week, and it took me like a couple minutes to figure that out because there was no green on the maps. There was no green on the little bar to show what the realm's progress was. It wasn't there. So the good part was I got to see how well I do against a Zerg of 10 other people chasing me down as I try to discover waypoints and everything like that. So that was interesting. I actually have found. Pardon?
Benny Hill music playing in the background while you were running around.
Oh, I got to stream that. That would be perfect. Yeah. I did find, though, it's actually a lot easier now to find one-on-one or 2 versus 2 fights out there. There was actually a couple of good fights that I got into, and I won a couple and lost a couple. And I actually think that I could make a thing of running around solo in Guild Wars 2 in some context. So... Anyway, so that was Guild Wars 2. I did play Wildstar. I got another level on my engineer, so I am already 18. Yes, I'm legal in Wildstar now. I played Lotro for a little while. Just basically a little bit of maintenance. I was looking around at some of the things that got added. I wanted to make sure my houses didn't get deleted and everything like that. I just about carried on with the story quests and everything like that, and then I realized that I wanted to stay married, so I had to wait until my wife was ready. So... instead of carrying on in Lotro, I then so tonight before the show, while Lotro Reporter was off doing its thing in Lotro Reporter land, I actually fired up Secret World, or I should say I tried to fire up Secret World. Steam sale, I bought Secret World when it was on for like $7 or $8 or anything like that. So it was great.
Good
deal.
I let it sit there like I do all my Steam games. Sorry?
Good deal. Harry was saying.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
it was a great
good
deal. I bought it and I didn't play it. It was a typical Steam game. So I let it sit for a while and percolate, as these games are wont to do, and wanted to fire it up last night. I'd installed the game. It was like a 20 gig download or so from Steam. It was huge. Wanted to fire up last night. It was 2.5 hours to update it from the version that I downloaded from Steam to the point that it was actually playable. It was incredible. I hadn't had a patch like that in years. So that shot Secret World for last night, unfortunately. So I fired it up tonight. And I don't know if they're getting DDoS tonight or something like that, but it took literally, quite literally, and I don't like to throw the word literally around too hard because...
Are you sure? Because I've got a video for that.
Out there, but absolutely literally 45 minutes just to add the CD key. Like to navigate through the pages, I had to unlock my account. I had to reset my password because I hadn't logged into anything Secret World in years. And I finally got password changed, CD key entered, account activated 45 minutes after I'd started. It was phenomenal. I hadn't seen such a poorly performing website ever. So I really hope their server admins are having a successful night in fending off horrible, evil Illuminati plot is out there to bring their servers to their knees.
Bill, I have something for you.
I can't wait.
You literally couldn't get out of bed.
You'll hear
You
it.
can't hear it, can you? Damn it! Never mind. But the chat room just laughed because I played word crimes in the part that talks about literally and figuratively and
I kind of figured
proper
that would
use.
happen.
Yeah. But anyways,
wasn't
moving on.
figurative, though. It was quite literal. I was actually counting how long I'd been logged in Steam, and it was 45 minutes. Actually, technically, it was 47 minutes. So maybe I was being figurative in the other direction, though.
There you go.
Anyway, I did actually go in. I played the tutorial, so I have officially Secret Worlded, and that's been pretty much my week. How about you, Harry? I'm waiting for your giant list here.
Well, actually, first you literally just
Wait.
blew my mind.
Hold on. Sorry. He what to you? He what you?
What?
Anyways, Hagu in the chat room says it's how they keep the Secret World secret. Bill.
I certainly did have to hunt for it. I'm not going to
Yes.
lie. I
Sorry.
hope it's worth the effort.
Harry here,
Initiation
who was
rights.
just pleasured by Bill. Moving on.
What?
I have no idea what's going on here now, but I'm definitely not.
I think somebody misheard something.
Oh, did I mishear? Okay.
Yes, you misheard.
Oh, my call's ending. I gotta go.
Complete side note, Bill. Thank you, but I'll get on to what I was playing. I played Lotro.
You did
And-
not.
I speak truth. I do not lie. I
Did you finally
Patched.
figure out your skill tree?
I actually had to respec, obviously, because it was 6 weeks, 2 months ago that I last logged in to pay my upkeep. And apparently, every time I go away, they change every freaking thing around. Doesn't matter. I got my rotation back. I rebuilt my champion and I started playing, and I'm now level 85.
Oh.
And got to hit bolts, and people told me to once you see that, just turn around and run. Get away.
Pretty much.
So I was doing that. I thought I'll just pick up I'm trying to power level with every support stuff I can get into the store. So you have these little coins that allow you to jump from quest giver to quest giver, to turn in your quests quickly or go to the next one quickly. It's quite handy. And I thought I'll just do the epic story and get up to speed. And I got back into the epic story, and at a certain point in the epic story, not long after I logged in, I got a quest to kill 8 orcs.
8.
That's
I
epic.
have played Lotro since launch, and every time I was looking forward to getting to the next bit of the game, and I was willing to progress through killing 8, 16, 32, 128 orcs to get to the next bit. And all of a sudden, in 2014, I realized that after 7 years, I was still killing 7 orcs to get to the next bit of the game.
Yeah.
And it suddenly dawned on me that this might be the next bit of the game. And then I realized I'm not playing anymore because I am 7 years of my life trying to get to the next bit of the game. And I'm at the next bit, and it's the same bit I played 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I think MMOs just broke
Yeah,
for
but
me.
orcs are the main bad guys. I mean, that's
It's-
basically
it's-
a
it's
sea of
7.
orcs goes across the world. That's going to be the main bad guy you need to kill.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
this shit,
the
this
source
shit-
material. The source material is not exactly secret here, Harry. It doesn't try to pretend that the orcs are going to turn into something more magnificent.
there should be more than
Harry, I'm going to spoil something for you. The next thing you have to kill is a giant mechanized robot. So just keep going.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they
fuck you.
mentioned that in the Silmarillion, didn't they?
Well, they can't talk about it because it's a Silmarillion. Well, they could use it, they just couldn't name it.
Silmarillion, oh my god.
If it would be a mechanized turtle, and according to in-game lore, it's actually a dragon.
Right.
Okay, no, but it just fell apart for me. That I just realized that every time I'm logging in to get to the next bit of the game, I'm doing the same bit of the game. That there must be some lesson here. That it's futile. Lotro has become futile. I'm sorry. I think I will not play an MMO ever again. I just saw The Matrix. It's gone. I played. I played Wolf Among Us, and you guys probably know that.
I know that game, yes.
It's one of the Telltale games. It's after it's their next big thing after Walking Dead, or next to Walking Dead.
I've heard great things about it.
Right now, so they're all out right now, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the reason that I started playing, because all 5 episodes are there, and it's just one sit through, and it's wonderful. It's about fairy tale figures that have taken human form and are now living in present day New York. And you play Big B, the big bad wolf, who's now a sheriff and trying to solve more murders. And it's just freaking fantastic. I don't care that there isn't that much interaction, that it's basically just a story with dialogue choices, because the presentation is so freaking awesome. It's one of the best point-and-clicky adventures I've ever played. So
nice.
Big kudos to Wolf Among Us from Telltale Games. And the big thing for me was Destiny. The Destiny beta is current. Well, if you're listening to this, it's already stopped. But they've been running a beta week on the PlayStation 3 and 4, and the Xbox folks will be getting in a couple of days. And I played the crap out of that game. I've actually reached the beta level cap.
Oh, wow. And
Wow.
just so you know, I'm playing some video of it for the live viewers and for the YouTube viewers. So I've got that going, so you can talk about that. It shows, just so you have an idea of what it shows the sort of ship, the third-person view area, the sort of MMO-ish area, and then it goes into some combat. So go ahead. Keep talking about your experience.
I've reached a massive level cap of 8, which is not really the biggest deal I've
Sounds
ever.
impressive.
It's hella impressive, but it really isn't. Okay, let me boil this down very quickly. This is Halo, the MMO. And if you don't like Halo and you never liked Halo, you're going to hate Destiny. If you, however, enjoyed Halo, this is one of the best games ever. It is freaking fantastic. It's their balance, their weapon, their mission design is Halo at its finest. Not the bad Halo. This is the good Halo.
Now, one quick thing, though. You said it's the best MMO ever. It is not.
No, I did not say that.
You did.
I did not say that.
If you liked Halo, if you liked Halo, then it's the best MMO ever.
Best game ever, not MMO ever.
Oh, okay. I misheard you.
Yes.
Because the MMO elements of it, it's quite it's MMO-ish or MMO light, right? It's got some multiplayer elements. It sort of ups what Borderlands 2 kind of does with co-op play and maps like that. You have the center area that's sort of multiplayer, where you do your tasks, sell stuff and buy stuff and get your missions and stuff. But then when you're out in combat, it's very instanced, isn't it?
It takes a page from the original Guild Wars in that respect, and I think everybody keeps comparing it to Borderlands, and I think that is fair up to a point. But I know what you mean. It is not a it's not a continuous shared open world except for the hub. And you're right about that. But I don't think that is the criterion for MMO-ishness. Because if you look at what you're doing, it's a friend of mine actually made a good comparison. I mean, Borderlands is like Diablo, and Destiny is like World of Warcraft.
Okay. Would you say that? Like, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's more like it's a World of Warcraftification of Halo.
Okay.
So it has its quests. It has a lot of the accessibility. I want to say of it. It streamlines everything to the point that you can just have fun, and but the actual boss fights and the actual missions that you're doing are very MMO like. It's just all the crap in between has been cut out of it, and yeah.
Now, are you required to group for any content or PvE content, not PvP?
No.
Could you go through the entire amount of content that is there solo?
I don't. I'm not. Well, the beta you can, because I did.
Right.
But I'm not sure about the actual game. But
go ahead.
Well, every mission has this 1 to 3 player option. For the missions that I play, it's like this mission is for 1 to 3 players. But if you want to play the multiplayer missions, you need to have PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live or whatever you have to subscribe to. And it how can I put it? I had a multiplayer session with a friend of mine just last night, Sunday night actually. And it was one of the greatest shooter experiences I've had, and it had such an MMO boss fight vibe. If you're playing with 3 people and you're taking down a big boss and ads keep streaming at you and you have to use your weapons and your special powers, it is a fantastic cooperative and strategic and MMO-ish experience where you have bosses in phases and you have tactics and you have stay out of the fire bits, and it is really an amazing WoW-like boss fight experience. It's very well done.
And it's for the content, it's buy the box, play the game, right? There's no monthly subscription?
Yeah, it is. And
other than the Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, I think what they're gonna do is sell episodes or something. They haven't really been clear on that, but there is no monthly fee, in a sense, like Guild Wars 2, and I think it's a fantastic deal. And I was really in a mood to play Halo again, but the Microsoft Halos disappointed me recently. They never were up to the level, and now you can all of a sudden see the quality that Bungie brings to their products, because this beta basically has for your missions, for your story missions that they show, they place them all in one map. So every time you go back to the same rundown facility in old Russia, the Astrodome as it's called, I think.
Cosmodrome.
Cosmodrome, yeah, the big complex with ruins and an old space base that's now abandoned and taken over by aliens. And what they do is, by reusing the same area, and I'm assuming this is just a beta, of course, they show their gameplay engine, and that is based just like Halo on the encounters. If you remember, it's not just about the level design itself. Isn't for your single player experience. It's not about the set pieces of what happens in the level, but how enemies are placed and their AI, and how you have to handle certain types of aliens and creatures and coming at you. And they're doing the same thing, but by having the same area and having different encounters in that, they really show you how well that works and how much fun it is to get a handle on the behavior of the different aliens that you have to fight. So I'm very impressed by it. The weapons feel weighty and meaty, but not, and it's that slower than Call of Duty. It's kind of Halo-like again. It's very difficult to get around that. Much more realistic weapons in the sense that most of the weapons I had were basically bullets. So you got the sniper rifle and your burst gun or your single shot ranged weapon. And it feels perfectly balanced already. I did some multiplayer. I was just back in Halo playing new maps. It's less floaty, but and the great thing is that they've taken what makes Halo great, and they've taken what makes Borderlands and your basic MMO great, which is the progression system and your item upgrades and a mission system. And it's one of my favorite games of the year, and I'm really angry that Destiny is taking another 3 months at least to come out. September.
By the way, Hagu in the chat room is saying that Activision CEO said Destiny's long-term budget was $500 million. That's the long-term budget. So that's for the next few years as well, I would assume, because I saw somewhere that the budget was $300 million for making it.
I was going to say, maybe that includes a movie or something like that?
Yeah.
No. They have a 10-year...
Sci-Fi Channel TV series.
Oh, you know what? To be very blunt, this is going to kill Defiance. Other than its tie-in to the show, which the show is amazing. I love playing Defiance, but I haven't been in there for a while. But this is just what Defiance should have been, right? It just makes other MMO-ish shooters look bad, to be blunt.
Well, we're talking about the combination of one of the best shooter designers in the business.
Yeah.
Combined with the publisher of the world's biggest MMO, and they really have, of course, used all their internal resources to get to this point, and all their expertise in house, and it shows. And I'm not saying this is going to blow away every game ever, but it's a lot of fun. It makes everything I love about Halo instantly available. And it makes it scratches that itch of progressing and getting your new skills without feeling you have to grind for it. And what I was really impressed by is I was kind of worried for the multiplayer bit because your character is persistent across all game modes. So you have your co-op story missions, but you also have your arena-based deathmatch or capture the control point systems, and your character is persistent, including your setup and your weapon loadout. So what they've done is, even though you have your weapon and you have 3 slots for weapons, you have your regular gun, your special gun, and your heavy gun. And you can keep those. So if you have the Uber rocket launcher of awesome, you can have that, and you can have that in the multiplayer session. But what you will not have is the ammo for it. So rather than having the weapons, the best weapons at strategic positions in the map, you'll have to run to a place to get up your special ammo for your heavy weapon or your special weapon, and that balances it out fantastically. So that way you still have that strategic run across the map and get to the good stuff feeling, but you still have your own character, and you can get used to the weight and handling of the weapons that you equipped. So I am very impressed by that. And it looks pretty good, even though it's ran at half its resolution. That is, well, not half, but it's not full resolution yet.
It's at 760p and 30 frames, right?
I read 900p for the beta, and they're going for 1080 on both Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Okay.
And it already looks, it doesn't look as shiny as it should because it's not at full res.
Right. No, it looks pretty good, though.
I read that. They forked off the... It looks good. It runs flat. The art style is amazing, and they have dance animations, so I'm happy.
Oh, cool. And I'm really not seeing any frame rate issues, even when there's a lot of mobs on screen or anything like that. So it seems incredibly, incredibly polished, even at this beta stage.
I've had no hiccups whatsoever playing on PlayStation 4. What I was very impressed by is that I was able to pull off headshots in a multiplayer session with a sniper rifle. And I can only do that if the game is rock solid, because it feels just perfectly tuned for that kind of. The controls are awesome. This is what Halo. This is the next of what I wanted out of a Halo game.
Awesome. Well, it's really looking quite positive.
Yeah, and I noticed that you put a. Do you guys have any discussion points or questions about the game so far?
I've asked my questions. Bill, Layanor?
Not so much questions. I'm starting to get the vibe that this might be the killer game that's starting to come out. I realize that it's or killer game as far as consoles are concerned. I realize it's coming out on both Xbox and PS4, but it'll be kind of interesting to see I can almost see how that might be the differentiator between the two consoles, because I haven't bought a PS4 or an Xbox One yet, so I'm still probably one of many that are still out on the fence. And if Destiny comes out and really knocks it out park on one platform or the other, then that could really be a big decider in the console wars.
Actually, it's very interesting that you say that. This has been a point of discussion for the console fanboy wars out there, that the Xbox One version was supposedly going to run on a lower resolution. But Microsoft has made some changes to their APIs and actually removed some of the requirements for reserving computer power for the Kinect camera. It actually they
Good call, Microsoft. Good call.
Well, I'm trying to keep a straight face here, but basically, you must have followed this. I mean, we are not a console, but they had the mandatory Kinect camera in every Xbox. They removed every promise, every statement they made since launch, and the final victim was the Kinect camera, including the fact that some of the system resources were reserved to run the Kinect in the background to spy on everybody. And it now, magically, they came out and say, now we can actually run Destiny on 1080p. So Bungie itself has stated that there will be no difference between the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 version, which is fantastic because I'm so sick and tired of those arguments. Both consoles are great, and play the games that are fun on the ones you have. And I encourage everybody to play Destiny.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's awesome.
I'm feeling encouraged.
And is there any reason why this game should not be on PC? I have no reason for that at all.
Yeah.
I think this game should be on PC.
It seems like it would be a real hit on PC as well.
I was beating that drum quite a while ago when it was still in early development and we hadn't really seen beta yet or anything like that. And I'm really trying to hold back because it does feel like it belongs with the PC master race, but
that it does.
I must say that even though it would be fantastic to play this on a high-end PC, the controls are so well tuned to a controller that I had not for a second felt that I was gimped using. The same as I felt with the first Halo game. Bungie pulled off what nobody thought was possible. It was getting a first-person shooter to run, not just run or work well, but work great on a console.
And isn't it funny that now consoles are seen as the place for shooters?
Yeah, and for me, my consoles have been my shooter experience for the last at least 7 years. I prefer shooters on consoles now, which is actually kind of the world upside down. It's mad.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Maybe this is actually the game that will actually prove the viability of massive multiplayer titles on consoles, just like Halo did for the shooter on the console. This might be the gateway to the...
Quick question for you, though. Communication between groups. Is it just through headsets, or what did you find? Did people just not communicate?
I found that people were not communicating. This was an interesting experience. I was playing with a friend of mine, and of course we communicate. We use the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation Network chat functionality, which is the voice chat, and it works actually pretty good. I'm impressed that Sony was able to do the things that Xbox Live did 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But it is voice based, and I noticed in bugs in just doing just random matchups, people are just quiet, and I prefer them quiet.
Yeah.
And but the game becomes so much more fun if you're playing it with somebody you know and you're actually discussing strategies and helping each other out, and you can res each other while you're fighting.
Yeah.
So you should play this with a friend on a headset and ignore the. But people are generally just quiet. which is a big step up from Halo. I mean, I've learned words during my first Halo 2 multiplayer sessions that I wasn't aware existed. I'm quite fluent in the English language, and now in several others when it comes to swear words.
Yeah. Well, that sounds
you got to
like
try Guns of Icarus.
Oh, that's true.
So,
No.
that's okay. That's what I've been playing. I think we should move on.
All right. I guess it's my turn then.
Oh yeah, Kris, what have you been playing?
Yeah.
Tell us of this wonderful, exhaustive experience that you've had in the world of Lord of the Rings Online or World of Warcraft. You've played WoW. Tell me you.
I played Wildstar.
Oh God, we're digging deep now.
I played Wildstar. I've got my attunement on step 7, I believe. So I've done all my adventures on silver or better. Actually, I think I got gold on most of them. So that's really cool and really enjoying that. Now I got to get onto my dungeons. I did pug a dungeon, which in Wildstar, due to its challenge, is not necessarily something that many people do. And it was quite an experience. I had a couple of groups that I said, "Oh, I'm new doing adventures, or not adventures, dungeons. Feel free to yell at me or point me in the right direction if I'm doing something wrong." And they quit as soon as that, because you get ratings, bronze, silver, or gold. And if you don't, some people don't want to run it if they're not going to get a gold or a silver. So, though they did do a whole bunch of changes, because it used to be the best loot was for gold only. You got a gold, you were guaranteed an epic item. But now they've changed it so that you still have a chance of an epic item, but the chance is just higher the better you do on the dungeon. So if you get bronze, you have a low chance, silver a better chance, and gold a better even chance than that at getting the epic. So people really want that chance for the epic. But I finally ended up with a really great group, made it all the way through Stormtalon's Lair, all the way through to Stormtalon, and didn't finish, wiped a bunch of times, and then it was just, that was it, that was time. But it was really fun. And the group was super great at teaching me the mechanics for the veteran version versus the regular version. And I just really, really enjoyed it. Did that. I also went through last Friday was a PvP event on the test server, testing out a new PvP map that they've got. And I'm going to show the live stream something here. I'm going to pull it up because it was quite painful. Today we had that on Friday, and then today we had a press event where we played this new map. And so all the press were in one group, and none of us had PvP gear, and it's all press, and not all the press are as into Wildstar as I am. And so we go in, and we ended up against a pre-made guild. All of the other side was a guild in full PvP gear. So as you can see from the video here, as we get into the middle portion here, we go to and fight. It's a control point map, the map that we were in, what's it called again here? Daggerstone Pass. It's a control point map with some variations, which I'll talk about in a bit. But we go down the middle, and all we see are these red names as we start to cap, and they're all coming mid at us. And we died so hard. For those of you who haven't played Wildstar, just watch the live stream or the YouTube video right now, because you can see we are decimated. Absolutely. Like, the chaos that is there is absolutely crazy. And we died. And then we kept on going, and we died again. And we died again. But it was a fun event. I did a few more runs, and I did some after the press event ended as well. And like I said, I did some on Friday. So I'll talk to that later. But definitely exciting for those of you who are looking to get some more PvP action in Wildstar. I've also jumped into Brothers Among Us, which was a wonderful gift from the best listener ever, who I think got a few of us some stuff. So I tried that, and it's so interesting. I don't know. Have any of you played it?
What is it?
I bought it during the Steam sale, and I'm actually really keen to jump in. I want to carve out like 2 or 3 hours so I can actually get a good run at it.
It's like an indie game, wonderful aesthetics, and it's brothers, a tale of two sons. And you control one brother with WASD and space. Space is your action key. And the other brother is arrow keys and control. Yeah. And it is absolutely beautiful. The sound design, the aesthetics, everything is just absolutely wonderful. So it's a great experience. So different than, you know, the crazy frenetic time that I'm spending in Wildstar. So it's a great mind shift, right? You know, you play some Wildstar, you eat too much, and then you have a palate cleanser, and that's Brothers. Right? And so really happy that I got into that. I did do a little bit of time as well in Swordsman. Which is a new MMO from Perfect World, where instead of picking a class, you pick a school of martial arts. So I don't know what school I picked, but it's got a staff. That's what I remember. I have to remember what the name is, but yeah, it's kind of interesting.
You're playing a game called Swordsman, and you pick a staff.
Yeah. So
not saying anything.
Yeah.
I'll refrain from commenting.
But I think Layanor, you've got it as well, and then Ben from over at Defiance Reporter has it as well, so we'll be getting some content out about that. Letting you know, I think I found it was really interesting because you didn't just attack. I think it was Q and tilde key were your different attacks. So you moved around and you used those for your attacks. And then you have different powers as well, but your kick and your punch sort of thing reminded me of like a fighter of some sort, right? So like a swordsman of some sort. But it was really cool. Looking forward to seeing. Have you jumped in at all, Layanor, to Swordsman yet?
No, not yet. I still need to figure out what I need to do to get it going.
It's free to play, so you can just install it and play.
I figured that part, but you know there was other things. What I just heard Utini. Utini.
Yeah, that was my cell phone text message.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta get that.
Yeah. Anyways. I'm paying attention to you, not that. So
sand people,
okay,
or worse. Okay.
Yeah, I know it's free to play. Still, I got to get into that.
Yep. And then on our weekend stream, I streamed Lotro, did the story stuff. Although sorry, Hagu has said, have you seen Chris's sword of compensation in Wildstar? Because
I was actually staying away from the big staff jokes.
Anyways, I did run through some of the new Paths to the Dead content with Layanor and Carrie, and that was a lot of fun on Sunday. So keep watching for our weekend streams. We're doing a lot more streaming with members of the MMO Reporter Network. It's a lot of fun. It went really, really well. So that's pretty much all that we've done. So shall we move on to the news, guys?
I am very happy to move on to the news. Well, first up is a kind of a sad story and also a cautionary tale for us all. You might be aware that there is this group called the Yogscast, and they are a bunch of guys who are very popular with their Minecraft videos, have their own video podcast, and basically became internet celebrities with their productions. And at a certain point, they decided they wanted to make a game as well. Went to Kickstarter to fund the game Yogventures. Was a huge success. Raked in about $560,000. Way above their goal. So the game went into production, and in August of last year, everything went quiet. People were worried because, as you might know, Kickstarter has reached its financial goal. The actual money is taken from people's credit cards and going to the Kickstarter team to do whatever they want to do with it. In this case, even though they got the money and got into production, the game got cancelled. Then a couple of things happened that justifiably made a lot of people angry, or at least mildly irritated. After the game got cancelled and the crew from the Yogscast actually came forward and said so, they sent an email with one of the lines that pissed Chris off to no end, and I must agree with him here. I will quote from that email. Although we're under no obligation to do anything, instead we're going to do our best to make this right and make you really glad you project. Because they're going to give people a lot of stuff like keys for another game. But the line, although we're under no obligation to do anything, is kind of a sucky sentence to put into an email to people who are actually trusting you with their money.
All you have to do is take out the first part of that sentence, and it is perfectly acceptable. All they have to say is, we're going to do our best to make this right. But I think the problem is the over-litigation that happens. If they just said, we're going to do our best to make this right, then they could be seen as accepting some responsibility for failing.
That's obviously what I thought as well. Yeah, but it comes across rather. It's the fact. Yeah, Bill, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it reminds me of one of my language pet peeves is to make an argument based on the notion that you're technically right, when being technically right is like the worst kind of right you can possibly be. I would rather be 100% wrong than technically right.
I disagree, but that's a technical win for me.
Exactly.
I think this is important for not. I mean, the fact that the game went belly up and things went bad. I mean, that's terrible. There's a company involved. They started a company called Winterkewl that was actually going to do this thing. They went belly up. They went probably for bankruptcy. That's terrible for those people working there. Don't care what you think about what they should have done. There are people with families, whatever. But the bigger picture, I think this is the first time that a Kickstarter project was funded and then failed anyway, and failed publicly. And this is the thing. People think of Kickstarter as this nice pre-order service, but you're taking a huge chance with some of these things.
I think, no, there's some other stuff that have failed. I remember a board game one that came out a while back, but this is the first really gaming one that we've seen that was so big, that was from such a prominent internet celebrity, as you said, that then failed. So we've had these issues come out before where people, went to do it and then it ended up crapping out. But yeah, this is the first game one. Sorry, go ahead.
It's a healthy reminder that the gaming business is a hard business. I mean, they obviously set their Kickstarter goals at the beginning, and they say in the article that they knew they were going to have to partially fund on their own as well. But like this is I don't want to say it's like basic project management, but I mean, if you're going to be going into Kickstarter and you're going to set a financial goal for yourself, you should be able to get a pretty good idea of what it's going to cost, or you should be asking for what it's going to cost to actually deliver something, even if it's not necessarily a finished product, but whatever you can, like something to deliver. And the fact that it's just hanging now is a bit of a project fail.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead, Harry.
I was just going to say it shows their inexperience. What you're saying is absolutely true. I mean, if you're saying I'm going to bake a bread and sell it, then you have to know what this is going to cost to bake the bread and pay the bills, and then add a little extra for yourself and then sell it at a profit and sustain your business. Mm-hmm. And they failed at that basic level of not knowing what the ingredients were going to cost. And this is the risk that you take as a Kickstarter supporter, because you are most likely dealing with inexperienced people here. These are people that couldn't get their funding elsewhere, remember? I mean, this is never a sure thing. And I think a lot of good things came out of Kickstarter, and please keep backing the good stuff. But you be aware that this risk exists.
Yeah, and I think for me, it hits a little close to home because, they kind of started doing similar stuff to what we do, and they hit it big, and they went off and decided to make this game. And, it's not like I could see us ever getting to that point or anything like that. That's not what the connection. But
what,
they
fail
started.
at a Kickstarter? Yes, we can.
They started from the same place we did. And they're just a bunch of guys just like we are. They're not people who went to business school to do this. One thing I wanted to mention too is some of the issues were on from what I can see, Winterkeel's parts, and I think the head of Winterkewl, I think his name's Kris Vale, said it was a part of the problem was his lack of business experience, and that things like when they wrote up the contracts, one of the artists got their lump sum. I think it was $35,000 at the start of the contract. Got their lump sum. Boom. That's the way it was written. No clause in the contract for having to complete the work. He got a game at LucasArts, left, took his money with him, and they didn't have any work for the money that they paid there. Issues like that caused a big part of this.
And we romanticize the whole notion of starting up getting your startup in your garage and just kind of winging it and figuring it out and becoming a huge success. There's an advantage to going to school and learning business and gaining that kind of knowledge. And this is the example that's probably a heck of a lot more common than the garage startup wild success that everybody dreams up.
Well, there was a lot of people are sitting in their garages doing things, and nobody knows they're there, and they don't know if they fail or succeed. Kickstarter makes it so much more public. I think that's a big difference.
Yeah, no.
Layanor.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
there was that company a while back called Dark Cryo that was doing the Firefly MMO. They took out a Kickstarter and then canceled it for whatever reason and just started taking money in through their websites. Fox later on announced that they were going to put out a social MMO kind of game sometime this summer, and they canceled. Dark Cryo canceled their Firefly game, and now that website's gone.
Yeah.
Well, this stuff.
So that's even another example of that.
I'm actually surprised, come to think of it, how often it actually turns out all right with Kickstarter. I mean, if you think about it, it's actually amazing that this doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Because it's an open platform. There's no reason that anybody couldn't just start up a Kickstarter, and anybody who could draw a fancy graphic could probably come up with a decent amount of funding for anything, and they might not even know which end of the bank account is which.
Right.
Actually, somebody's actually tried that. There was this MMO Kickstarter, and it looked very fancy and very impressive, and all kinds of great claims were made. And it turns out it was completely bogus, but one guy just wanted to get in the money. And he used screenshots and art from DeviantArt sites and stuff like that just to look like it was actually a legitimate thing. And he was found out. But you have to imagine how many people, unscrupulous people who just have a nice artist in-house and say, just whip up some cool things. Let's raise the goal to $100,000 and then just run. Because that's also one thing in the email that he sends out. We're not under obligation to do anything. That is actually true. So people can take the money and run.
Maybe legally, but you do earn the branding of a dickhead for the rest of your life, and you can't escape that.
Hey, but
of course, no, I'm not saying Yogscast. I mean, those guys. I mean, that's a community thing. But if you are actually a confidence man, and you want to take advantage, you don't care. You can, and you didn't break any law.
Hey, but at least we got a great Kickstarter for potato salad.
What? Okay, I think we move on to the next story.
See that?
No.
You didn't
Is there a Kickstarter for potato salad?
There was like a great Kickstarter that succeeded, and that what is it? There was a $10 goal, and this guy reached $61,287.
What?
I'm not joking in any way whatsoever. We'll bring it up right here. Here we go. Potato Salad by Zach Danger Brown. 6,318 backers. Most of them are the $1 and $2 level, with quite a few at $3, quite a few at $5. Let's see what the highest one is. 99 backers at $50 and 18 backers at $110.
Oh man.
Well, I know what I'm doing this weekend.
Did I get anything? I mean, what did you
for
get?
$110, you receive the recipe book, the shirt, and the hat, along with a bite of potato salad, a photo of me making the potato salad, a thank you posted to our website, and I will say your name out loud while making the potato salad.
The shirt is, by the way, pretty awesome. It just has the text, "I just backed potato salad."
Oh my.
Bill, please move along. Please move along.
Speaking of batshit
Can I
crazy,
still back this? Wait.
Camel.
Sorry, Bill. Go ahead and.
What's the stretch goal? Anyway, Camelot Unchained had the culmination of their batshit crazy days reveals, where they were basically putting up detailed information, or as detailed as they have, I suspect, about the game systems that are going to be going into Camelot Unchained. We talked a little bit about the stat system in that last week, because that's all they had released at that point. We'll have a link in the show notes, but basically just look up Camelot Unchained batshit crazy, and you'll get all kind of the PowerPoint rundowns on what the magic system's going to be like, the combat system, crafting system, the map, or the PvP map, and everything like that. And it's got me really excited about the game. Like, one of the things that I'm not going to do a deep dive here because it would be really easy for me to just take over the rest of the show talking about this. But the big thing that I thought was really cool is the magic and weapon combat are kind of being developed as like component systems. And Haigu actually sent us an email as well, commenting on this too, that the magic system is very reminiscent of what I talked about several shows ago with Magicka, where you're actually given a base set of elements and abilities and everything like that, and the actual spells that you create are kind of, they can be either sort of pre-recorded or on-the-fly combinations of those elements. Same thing with weapons. You'll have different kind of base attacks, but you'll put like a modifier in there to have it be like a two-hand overhand swing as opposed to a one-hand overhand swing, and it seems like a really ambitious system. It seems very, very cool. Anyway, I check it all out if you're getting at all interested about this game. They're really still building it as kind of a difficult progression, hardcore, primarily PvP style game, or realm versus realm, I should say, not just PvP. So check it out. It's CamelotUnchained.com. Just search for Batshit Crazy on there. We're also going to put a link to the show notes to the Batshit Crazy release week YouTube playlist, which is 3.5 hours of talking about game systems and everything like that. So if there's no excuse not to do a deep dive into this, but there's a lot of cool reveals going on in there.
Wow, that's a lot of information.
It is. Like I said, it'd be really easy for me to take off on the rest of the show, but they've got some really cool ideas that are they're really, it feels like they're going back, trying to reinvent certain pieces of very old games and trying to bring that back into the modern era, and also putting new spins to game systems that have maybe become a little bit stale or common in other games that have come out recently.
Awesome. I'm happy that they've got all this information out there. It's great especially for a game that was kickstarted, that is taking such early money from people, to be so transparent as they are building the game. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, if you're talking about delivery, the schedule that they've got posted in the site here is that alpha is supposed to begin in August 2014, so next month. So I don't know if they're going to do any reveals or anything like that as they go through alpha. I'd be a little bit surprised, but alpha in August 2014, beta 1 in January 2015, and beta 2 in June 2015. So hopefully we'll start seeing some some actual media to kind of put a face to the text description we have so far.
Moving on to some news from ESO. Lots of talk about ESO at QuakeCon, and lots of reveals and stuff like that. I want to talk about a couple different things. First of all, there's going to be a new sort of PvP thing that's going to be going on, where when you own Cyrodiil Keep, you're going to open up a new zone that you can control and go in that's more PvE in that PvP area, so that's really, really cool. And just showing a quick video of that right now. So excited about that for all those people looking for some more content as well. They're talking about the more content that's going to be coming out. City of Ash, a new veteran dungeon coming out with
that's pretty
update 5. Yeah, well, ESO is a very, very pretty game, but if you know, one of my issues with the aesthetic is it's very, very similar. I did go through a couple of the different zones, but you know, I'd really love to see a little bit more differentiation in the color palette. I like brown, and I never knew there were so many variations of brown out there. So, anyway,
brown kind of rolls into gray, which is also exciting.
A little bit, yeah. And then, so there's some bunch of different things that they're going through. They're doing a game-wide audit to fix quests so players aren't separated so often. That's one of the big problems with phasing in the game, with grouping. People jump to different phases. Oh, go ahead.
Before you continue with this list, might I just first say that this is the most ridiculous list of fixes I've seen in an MMO since I've been playing MMOs. Because we cannot go through this like this is just matter-of-fact stuff. The fact that this game actually now, how many months into its launch?
I was going to mention that at the end of it, but hey, you know, you go ahead.
I'm sorry, but this game upset me to no end.
Thunderstealer.
Holy cow, I think you just stole the thunder of the thunder stealing. It was just totally meta there.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to keep going here. I'm sorry. There's just a whole bunch of fixes that they're looking at. They're looking at making some animation changes as well. Let me just show you here. I can go back. Here we go. Where, you know, they're going to be having some better facial animations for all the classes. Right now, they call current NPC characters sock puppets in terms of facial animations. That's what you launch your damn game with. Sock puppets.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Thunderstealer. But you know, this is still within the first year, and this feels like beta fixes. This feels like what they should have fixed in alpha or beta or testing, not
this is the design documents.
Yeah.
We're making a massively multiplayer game. You know what? Maybe people want to group in that game. And maybe if they are in a group and they progress through it, everybody should progress at the same pace. And maybe if the group is trying to do a story, half of the group should not wonder where the other half is because they're phased out of existence. This is not a fix. This is your design document.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention, too, which is a big shift, which I've been hearing about for a while, is Paul Sage talked about the fact that they're changing the veteran system, which was supposed to be the end game. Okay, so picture this. I don't know how many of you know about this, but picture this. You know, close your eyes while I talk here. You really want to picture this. Everybody at home, close your eyes. Think about this.
Yes.
You level through 1 to 50. Go through all those adventures that you go through, and you get to level 50, and you're looking forward to the end game. What do? You go back and do all the quests from the other 2 realms that you didn't do and go through that questing experience. Oh, that's wow. And then that's the veteran system. You get to go into 10 veteran ranks. So that's what they launched with, and they're going to change it, getting rid of veteran core points. And veteran ranks are gained through experience points, and you get rested XP and all that sort of stuff. And they're adding a champion system where they're going to add a ton of passive points and stuff like that. So as you gain experience, you get champion points to spend on passive. So more rewards once you hit level 50 and start going through the veteran ranks and all that sort of stuff. It's just too different, the leveling experience and the amount of dings that you get, the amount of little endorphin releasing pleasure center moments that you get when you level. Those just don't happen enough in the veteran ranks, and it becomes a huge grind. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of what they did for the veteran system, but I mean, that's their choice. I know that there's a lot of people that do. They like to get to explore the other areas that are not their faction. So I don't know. What do you think, guys? Do you think that's I mean, again, this is huge changes just out the gate. This is like Harry was saying, this is design document level stuff. Bill, I mean, what's your impression of ESO? You haven't, Harry and I have played it. What's your impression now that we've talked about this, you've seen this, and you haven't played it?
I have not played it. Reading through the notes, though, and obviously I've followed kind of the story of ESO development and everything like that. And this just, it screams a game that was rushed out the door to try to get out before, I don't know, maybe Wildstar or something like that. It just, yeah, which is, I mean, it's just a ripoff. And it's a ripoff for the players that really got excited about it and jumped in and everything like that. I mean, I don't know. It seems a shame. It feels like the industry should have learned the lesson about rushing this kind of stuff out, but obviously they haven't.
Layanor, what do you think?
This just kind of follows my guideline, and you know, unless somebody gives me an MMO or Chris gives me, you know, a code to take a look at an MMO as soon as it comes out. I usually do not look at MMOs when they first come out. I usually wait about a year until everything's all ironed out and then go into the game because it just feels like a more solid experience after that. And this just really looks like it to me.
It's interesting. Oh, go ahead, Harry.
Well, no, this is something that I try to explain to everybody, including some people on this podcast that shall not be named. Chris! Day one is not the moment you want to play the game. But in case of ESO, I don't think Bill is correct in thinking that they rushed it out the door, because there are a lot of things that do look polished. I mean, it's not that the game was absolutely horribly broken in the way that Vanguard was, for example, when it was released. But it has a fundamental error in its DNA, that it was basically a single player game with multiplayer bolted onto it and then added to an MMO world. And they're not going to recover from that until they're going to do a Final Fantasy 14 and just flip the entire game upside down.
Do you think that anybody other than Square Enix could actually pull that off, though?
Blizzard could.
Blizzard did, actually, but not as publicly. Remember the Titan?
Right.
I mean, they
went back to the design docs.
And by the way, Sony Online Entertainment also did the same thing with their EverQuest franchise, and they stopped themselves before making a fool out of themselves in public. They realized they were honest to themselves. Elder Scrolls Online is just hubris. Like, well, we're gonna just do this, just like EA did with the Old Republic.
But hey, as of June, and going on to the next story here, ESO had 750,000 subs, which is not a horrible number at all. That's actually a quite substantial and significant number.
Give them 2 months.
Right. But if it was not meeting the needs of if it was so bad design-wise, wouldn't it have had way fewer people sub after the first month?
When did the game launch?
It launched start of May. So that's the first month subs. That's people who actually paid.
We're now in June.
We're in July now.
No, we're in June.
Oh, for
the purposes of this discussion.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people got into this game, not maybe at launch, but a couple of weeks later. And in June, their subscription was automatically renewed because most people were forced to add a credit card information to their game. So in June, the game actually, a lot of people just coasted on to the next month or were still intrigued by the game until they reached the end of the level. I think now we're in July, August. I think we'll definitely see a major loss of revenue or subscriptions. And if we don't, then I don't know a thing about MMOs.
Yeah. So
No,
what?
Because
Go ahead, Bill.
I was going to say, I agree with Harry. I mean, you can't really a high hype game like this. You can't really measure how it's done out of the gate until you get to that 3 to 6 month mark, because
exactly.
There's a lot of buying power and a revenue that comes just from hype. I don't think enough for them to break even or anything like that, but there's a lot there. There's a big layer of that's just hype.
And you have to wonder how they measure it there. But we are indeed in the next story, and I think it's a very interesting one. Mind if we go? I'll explain it first. There is this article that went around the internet from about the top subscription-based MMO titles in 2013 worldwide. And it's a top 10 list of all the games that are currently the big players. I'll go from 10 to 1, and I'm actually very surprised about some of these games in the list. And mind you that this was before some of these games went free to play, or if they at least have a subscription component, because there are some dubious titles in this list if you're looking at subscriptions. Number 10 on the list is Rift, which has a 1% market share, which is not much, but still.
That's lower than I thought it would be. That. So am I.
Well, first, the total market is $2.8 billion. Just to make sure that 1% of 2.8 billion, I want that. I would be happy with half of that.
Yep.
So let's not make this out of this is the poor kid at the table that doesn't get any food. I mean, this is a lot of money still.
Well, and this is its third year we're getting into now for Rift, and it's making, it's probably at this point mostly, I'd say, recouped its, because it did have a pretty big launch. I'd say that it's done well recouping its costs of making the game, and now we're probably into the point where it's in sort of maintenance and profit making for the company. So $36 million a year in 2013. I mean, that's not horrible.
Exactly, and we're going to go through the list a little bit quicker because if we stop for every game, this is going to be a long item. Number 9, Lineage 2, NCSoft's sequel to Lineage, is still doing very well at $45 million per year, 2% market share. Blade and Soul, also NCSoft, don't know the game. Probably huge in Asia, 2% market share worldwide, 65 million yearly. Aeon, another NCSoft title. NCSoft is doing very well in the MMO space. Aeon is 88 million, 3% market share, which is a lot bigger than I expected. Aeon was one of those games that most of us played and thought this is just an Asian grindfest and moved on. Apparently, a lot of Asians like it. Number 6, EVE Online. CCP actually is the number 6 MMO in the world. $93 million yearly revenue, 3% market share. And then, this is my big surprise.
Yeah.
I'm happy. But number 5 in the list is Lord of the Rings Online, which has a 4% market share, is the 5th largest MMO in the world with $104 million revenue worldwide in 2013. I'm amazed by that. I would not have expected to see it in the top 10, judging by the development and the amount of effort that was poured into the game the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Another big surprise, and I'm actually, I do not agree with this, even though this is apparently a fact. I do not agree with this. Number 4 in the list. Well, I wish I could, but I can't, so I shan't. Star Wars: The Old Republic is number 4 and it has a revenue of $165 million and has a 6% market share. We're talking about 2013. This is amazing. Everybody knows the game is shit. Crap. Terrible. Shit. Sorry. It's okay. Apparently, a lot of flies like. Never mind. Number 3, another thing I'm amazed by, but I think this is we should not forget that there is a big audience of players in the east of the world. And Terra Online is actually number 3 in the worldwide subscription MMO market with $236 million and an 8% market share. Terra, the short skirt teenage almost porn monster slaying game. Who knew? Number 2, this is amazing. Lineage 1, which is a first-generation MMO. This is akin to Ultima Online. It's that level of game. Is the number 2 MMO in the world with a 253 million worldwide revenue, 9% market share. And then we come to the big bad wolf, the big eater, the big devourer of virtual worlds itself.
Star Trek
and
Online.
that is Wildstar. This is World of Warcraft.
That's right. Don't you forget it.
$1 billion revenue yearly, 36% market share. I'm getting excited by this. World of Warcraft. This is a combination of subscribers in the East and the West. So this is the total World of Warcraft subscription base is still enough to basically fund a small country. We are looking
billion. That's just
billion.
Mind-blowing.
$1 billion.
Think about this for a second. Just think about this for a second. World of Warcraft is supposedly on the downswing and has been for years and years.
Right.
Yep.
It's a bad year at Warcraft when you only just barely clear $1 billion. It's like
a year, right? A year. No, I mean, this is not total, per year.
They should have a picture of Thrall in the dictionary beside the phrase cash cow. They need to have a actual cash cow in the game where you like just pull the tail and 10 gold pops out.
But this is what I find interesting is this. We're looking again. What you're saying is absolutely true, as usual, Bill. We're looking at the downswing of the worldwide MMO subscription market, and these are the numbers that we are seeing. And some interesting facts in the rest of the graph, the article, that actually MMO subscriptions went down. I mean, the big high point was 2010, and the subscription numbers are going down to currently 2.9 billion, and we're looking at more than 4 billion, almost 4 billion in 2010 as transactions are making up for the loss in subscription revenue. So it's not that the market itself is shrinking, it's just the way people spending their money is changing.
Well, but if you look at the last few years, subscription numbers have gone down. Microtransactions have stayed pretty stable. They've not increased. In fact, the estimated for 2015 is a decrease. So...
Well, we also have a bad economy now, and I think people are more prone to spending more money if they have a little bit more to spare, especially on virtual items. I don't think this is a permanent trend. I think we're going to see this pick up.
Yeah, no,
not much, but I mean, if you're looking at the trend, it's not exactly flatlining. It's very slow and steadily going up.
Right. Yeah.
Bill, what's going on in Guild Wars 2?
That's very interesting. Just really quick, we've talked about this before, but I just wanted to drop a little thing in the show notes about Guild Wars 2 customer support and their security investigation team. I just came across another example in the forums of the game security lead, Chris Cleary, just ripping apart a dude who got caught botting, who claimed that all he was doing chat macros, and how dare you ban me for something like that. It's like, no, we saw you botting through all of Cursed Shore. That's why you got banned. Thanks for coming out. I love ArenaNet. They're just so awesome.
ArenaNet are fantastic. They made the greatest MMO so far.
All right. Yeah. We've got an email now. Bill, why don't you read this one, because it references you.
Well, and this is we talked about this a little bit earlier, but from Hagu in the chat room. IRC in MMO Reporter 177, Bill talked about Magicka, which gave me the base to watch the Camelot and Chained Magic presentation as part of their presentation, BSC presentation week. So basically, just a quick link to talk about Magicka and how that magic system ties into how that's kind of married into Camelot Unchained, and yeah, it was
Thanks
very
for
cool.
the email.
So.
All right, let's talk about a few things here. First of all, our Patreon campaign, patreon.com/MMO Reporter. We have 12 of my greatest friends ever who have decided to become our patrons. As the times of old where people who create things would have patrons, people who would support them. So we are asking here, if you like what we do, you like the shows that we put out, all the podcasts, the YouTube videos, the live streams, go check out patreon.com/MMO Reporter, and you can see everything that we've got there, including some of the pledge rewards, which one of them does include some random stuff from our swag closet here that we've got, so that's really cool. So go check it out, patreon.com/MMO Reporter. And just want to quickly mention our sponsors, Doghouse Systems. Go to doghousesystems.com and use the coupon code MMO Reporter to double your RAM. I know my next computer will be a Doghouse system, and yours should be too. And of course, audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. If you are interested in audiobooks, that's where you want to go. You can sign up for their monthly plan, and hey, guess what? You go to that URL and you'll get your first month free. What does that mean? You get one free audiobook. You can cancel anytime, so go check it out, and you get to keep that book if you decide not to continue on with Audible. Bill, if people want to contact us, what would be the ways to do that?
Well, you can find us over on MMOreporter.com to find us on the web. Send us an email to mmo.reporter@gmail.com. Find us on our little Facebook corner at facebook.com/MMOreporter. You can tweet at any of us, either at MMO_reporter, at Harry Hall, at Layanor, or for yours truly, at MMO Bill. You can give us a call through your traditional landline or cellular telephone at 616-666-6778, or click the widget on the right side of the page at MMOreporter.com to leave us a voice message there. You can find us over on YouTube, youtube.com/user/MMO Reporter Network, to check out our videos posted there. And finally, like Chris mentioned in his ever so wise wisdom before, find us over on patreon.com at patreon.com/MMO Reporter to help us carry on with our podcasting stuff. I was going to go brilliance, but
I heard
You
stuff
went
in my
modest.
head before you even said it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, for a great show. Thanks, Layanor, as always. Fun to chat with you about MMOs.
Sure thing.
And thanks, Bill. As always, very, very wise. Very wise.
that's the first time I've heard that in a long, long time.
And
I am married after all.
And Harry, of course, thanks for getting up so early. Some really, really great points. Love to talk about ESO.
I'm sorry I stole your thunder. I'm sorry.
All right, and thanks to
Don't
everyone.
fire me.
Thanks for everyone for downloading the podcast. We really appreciate it. We hope that you download the podcast again next week, but most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish each and every little